Hi, friends. I'm the Reverend Lynn Cox. My pronouns are they, them, and I am the interim minister at the Unitarian Society in East Brunswick. And today I want to tell you a little bit about Hanukkah. Hanukkah is going to start at sundown on December 25th this year. And my family celebrates Hanukkah at home. So maybe some of your families also celebrate Hanukkah at home, or maybe some of your friends do. But I want to tell you a little bit more about the history of it. But first, I want to share one of our family's Hanukkah menorahs. A menorah that's for Hanukkah, especially, is called a Chanukiah. And this is kind of a small one, but you can see where the candles would go here. And then this candle, the one that goes here, is called the Shamash. It's the helper candle. And the flame here, it's hard to read, but the flame here actually says Hanukkah in Hebrew. So that is one of many models of a menorah that you might see this season. And so I want to tell you all about it. And I don't know if the story happened exactly this way, but I believe it's true. One thing that I know is true is that the word Hanukkah comes from the Hebrew word for dedication, right? When you devote something, when you concentrate on something that you're going to do. And this holiday commemorates the rededication of the Jewish temple in Jerusalem in the middle of the war against the Seleucid Greek king Antiochus more than 2,000 years ago. Once upon a time, the Jewish people in the land of Israel had a holy temple to which they made pilgrimage several times a year. So several times a year, everybody would come from their homes all around the country to converge on the temple. And even for people who lived many days' journey away, the temple was the center of their religious and cultural life. And it was not unusual for one world empire or another to rule over Israel, making them part of an international government. But usually, these foreign powers left their religious customs alone. And so people kept coming to the temple generation after generation, but not Antiochus IV of the Seleucid Greeks. Unlike previous emperors and foreign leaders that occupied Judah, Antiochus sought to completely assimilate the Jews. Do you know what assimilate means? It means make everyone the same, right? It means erase the things that make different cultures and personalities unique. Antiochus wanted all of the empire's subjects to worship the same gods, to follow the same dietary laws, and to raise their children in the same way. In an effort to destroy the Jewish religion and way of life, his troops vandalized the temple. They poured out all of the sacred lamp oil they could find onto the floor. They smeared filth on the walls. They released pigs to run loose through the holy sanctuary. They made a big mess. And according to the books 1 and 2 Maccabees, there was a priest named Mattityahu or Mattathias, who led Jews into the hills to mount a rebellion through guerrilla warfare. And his son, Mattathias' son, took over leadership of the fighting and came to be called Judah Maccabee, which translates to the hammer of the Jewish people. So the Maccabees threw rocks from hidden vantage points, and they conducted midnight raids for supplies, and they wore out the enemy by leading them over hill and dale in fruitless search for the rebels. After 2 years of fighting, there was a turning point. On the 25th of the Jewish month of Kislev, the Jews reclaimed the temple. They found their spiritual home, the heart and center of their civic and religious life, a complete mess. So they cleaned up the filth, removed the overgrown weeds, they drove out the wild animals, and they constructed a new altar. The 7-branched menorah was still there, but it hadn't been lit in at least 2 years. It was supposed to be lit at all times, an eternal beacon. And people from all over the country were returning to Jerusalem, united in their eagerness to see the menorah kindled again. Well, in the rubble, the temple reclamation team found one single cruse of oil, one little bottle, with the seal of the priest still intact. And it would last for 1 day, which was not enough time to make new oil. Nevertheless, the priests lit the menorah and declared the beginning of an 8-day festival to give thanks for the return of the temple. 8 days matched the length of the harvest festival of Sukkot that they had missed while fighting in the mountains 2 months before. The famous miracle of Hanukkah is that one cruse of oil, one jar, lasted throughout the 8-day festival. The priests declared from that time forward that there would be an annual 8-day festival beginning on the 25th of Kislev, and that was how the tradition of Hanukkah began. The end. Except it wasn't the end. The rededication of the temple happened in the middle of the Maccabean War with the Seleucid Greeks. The Jews had reclaimed Jerusalem for the moment, but there were no guarantees about holding on to it or the eventual outcome of the war. Now that they had a city to defend once again, the tactical advantage that they had had with what they call guerrilla warfare, where they're hiding in the bushes and they're coming under cover at night, they couldn't have those same tactical advantages now that they had to defend a city. So their victory for that war was still several years away. The extremely energy efficient oil that fueled the menorah for over a week is a pretty neat miracle. But I don't want to overlook the miracle of people who rededicated their sacred space and their lives despite the odds. Hanukkah means dedication. We can learn from this story about sticking with something even when it is difficult. We can learn about rededicating ourselves, renewing our commitments after a setback or a disaster. We can learn about making time for spiritual life and celebration when we have a chance, even when we know there's always more work to do. So today we're making time for all kinds of activities in our shared spiritual life. The children and the youth are going to go off with their Teachers to Spirit Lab to do some holiday activities, and other folks are going to stay in the sanctuary for some more meditation and reflection. So let's sing our song, and I'll see you soon.